Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Somebody's Opinion, and after owning the Fujifilm X100F for a number of weeks now, I feel like I can comfortably tell you guys my thoughts and my opinions on this camera. But instead of doing a formal review, I thought it's more appropriate to tell you guys 5 reasons why I like this camera and 5 reasons why I dislike it. Alright, so let's just agree on something here for a second. We all agree that Fujifilm cameras are fantastic cameras. They are fantastic cameras that take beautiful, beautiful images. So this video is not going to be so much about the image quality, but more so about the overall functionality and the overall handling of the camera, and things that I found useful about it, things that I found really annoying about it after owning it for the last month or so. Alright, so on to our very first point. I don't know if you guys ever experienced this, but every time I pull my X100S out of my bag, I find that it's on the on position. Not because I forgot to turn it off, but because it's so loose, this button here, that it just gets knocked around and nudged and accidentally gets turned on. With the X100F, it has a much stiffer on-off button, which makes a much more clickier and more satisfying on-off experience. But more importantly, it stays off when I want it to stay off. There is a lot of customizability on this camera. Aside from the function button beside the shutter, you can also customize the rear and front dials, the focus ring, or also known as the control ring, the autofocus lock button, 3 of the 4 directional buttons, and you can even customize what you want displayed in the quick menu, putting your most used option at the top for easy access. With so many customizable buttons, it really does limit the need to dig deep into the menu system in order to find what you're looking for, which makes this an excellent and very fast shooter. Now we know that every single X100 iterations has an improvement with its autofocus department, and of course this one is no exception. It works very snappy and fast under adequate lighting, but even under low lighting, it works very well as well. The thing that I like most about the autofocus in this camera is the addition of this joystick. This makes it very easy and very fast to switch autofocus points, and also I've been using this to navigate a lot in the menus and the quick menus as well. Alright, so I know that nobody's gonna be buying this camera for video purposes, but for me, for example, I use this as a just general all-purpose camera. So I take pictures out on the streets with it, I take pictures of my family with it, basically I use it for everything, so having video definitely helps. You can do both 720p and 1080p with frame rates from 24 frames per second all the way to 60 frames per second. There's a mic jack on this camera, 2.5mm however, but at least it's still there. And you can even control video controls through Wi-Fi using the Fujifilm app, which makes it very easy to do talking headshots like this one. The digital teleconverter is a great addition to this camera. It gives you that extra reach to a 50mm or a 70mm when you don't quite have that range or the reach, right? So I feel like it's great for street photography. You know, sometimes you just need to, nudge a little bit closer. Maybe you're not quite as close to the subject, maybe the framing is just slightly off. You can nudge a little bit closer and get the shot. And I know that you have to shoot only in JPEG, and I know that it does a lot of post-processing, sharpening, upscaling back to 24 megapixels to give you that file, but hey, you know what? It doesn't look that bad, so I've got nothing against it. And by the way, just so you guys know, there is no shame in shooting in JPEG. Alright, so those were 5 things I liked about this camera. What about the 5 things I disliked about it? And to be honest, I really did struggle to find 5 things I disliked because this is actually a really, really good camera. So in order to do this segment of the video, I did have to nitpick. So guys, please don't be mad, okay? Alright, so the first thing that I dislike about this product doesn't even have anything to do with the camera itself. It has to do with this. That's right, this charger. I mean, look at this. Look how long this cable is. It just keeps going and going. Who on their right mind actually charges their battery 3 feet away from the outlet? I mean, why can't they just provide a simple charger like this Canon one with a flip-out prong? So much easier, great for traveling. The wires will never get tangled up and it saves so much more space. Now the second thing I don't like about this camera is the lack of any sort of grip, and what tends to happen is that every time I pick up this camera, I'm almost always hitting a button, whether it's the auto focus lock button or this back dial here or the joystick or the Q button. I always tend to click something, and when the camera is on, you're clicking settings. So some kind of grip would have made this a little bit better. Maybe they can have a little, raised thumb area here, so you know that's where you rest your thumb. Of course, there are solutions to this. You can get a grip for this when they actually make one, or you can get a thumbs up grip on it, again, when they actually make one, or a case or whatnot. So it's not the end of the world, it's not a deal breaker, but something that I've noticed every time I pick up the camera. Alright, so the third point, the third thing that I don't like about this camera has to do with the control ring. So what happens is you actually use this control ring to control your digital teleconverter. Every time you turn it to the right, it zooms into 50, 70, and every time you turn it to the left, or counterclockwise, it goes back to the 35. So what happens is that every time I'm using this camera, and because the control ring is so smooth and easily nudgeable, every time I'm holding it or I have it somewhere in my bag, for example, I turn it and it zooms in, and then when I raise the camera to my eye to take a photo, I realize, hey, you know what, it's 50 mil, or it's 70 mil, what's going on? I have to zoom back out, and sometimes I would miss a shot. So that is an inconvenience sometimes. Alright, so the fourth thing that I don't like about this camera is the battery, and the reason is because it's kind of like an overpromise and under-delivered kind of a situation. Because when I first got this, I was actually really excited because they promised that this bigger battery is going to give us more battery life. But that's not really the case. Through my testing and my just overall usage, I'm finding that the battery life is, it's kind of the same as the old X100S, X100T battery life, which is kind of disappointing because, they said it's going to be more, right? So it's just overall kind of a disappointment. So if you do get this camera, keep in mind you do still have to get more batteries as a spare, just so you don't run out of battery life during the middle of a shoot. And if somebody is actually looking for a replacement battery, I do recommend getting the Wasabi Power. They are fantastic third-party batteries. Yes, they are third-party, but that being said, I personally never have any problem with it. I've used it on previous cameras, for example, like the X100S, and they've been working fantastic for me. They've never broken down or malfunctioned or anything like that, and they usually have a little bit more power in them. Like, for example, the regular Fujifilm one has 1260 milliamp hours, whereas the Wasabi Power actually has 1400 milliamp hours, so it does have more power in them and will probably last a little bit longer. Alrighty, so the fifth thing I don't like about this camera, and again, I'm being nitpicky here, so, don't blame me, but whenever I shoot with this camera, I typically keep it on the viewfinder mode because I find that the sensor, sometimes it doesn't read, or sometimes it thinks I'm switching when I'm not. It gets kind of annoying, so I keep it in the viewfinder mode. But here's the thing, every time I click the menu button or the quick menu button, the menu displays in the viewfinder. And I get it, I'm in viewfinder mode, but who honestly wants to navigate the menu using the viewfinder? Of course we wanted to switch over to the LCD screen, so it only makes sense for it to just jump over to the LCD screen and show the menu, display the menu here instead of here. But for some reason it stays here. Hopefully Fujifilm would create some kind of firmware upgrade to fix this strange little issue here. It just makes sense to click on the menu button and have the menu display on the LCD screen. So despite all of the negative that I mentioned just now, this is actually a fantastic camera, as we probably know from previous tests and previous reviews and whatnot. So don't be afraid to actually try this camera out. Go to the store, try it out, pick it up, and see how it feels in the hand, and see how the image quality works for you. That pretty much does it for this video today. If you guys are interested in checking out some of the products that we've mentioned in this video, including the X100F, you can check them out in the description below. The links will be down there. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think your 5 likes and dislikes are regarding this camera. You don't have to agree with me, but if you do disagree, you can definitely let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and your opinions are. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel because we'll have more videos coming your way very, very shortly, so subscribe and stick around.